The following deck has been rated E for experimental. User testing is advised. Hello, everybody. My name is Daniel, and I want to thank you for joining me on this inaugural deck list for the final contender. We are upon a new set of cards here with the Critical Role decks just about to emerge at the time of this recording. And I wanted to bring this deck out, for one, because it doesn't actually use any extra cards from the Critical Role decks, and two, it leverages a card from the Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament deck to really advance its capabilities. So we are pairing up Overhaul with Rando's Spirit Gun to double up on his once per turn abilities. A lot of attacks can come at you with little to no progressive difficulty using this deck, and it's actually proven pretty decent. Let's go ahead and dive into a discussion about the deck, as well as the decisions that I made in the cards I put in there. Alright, let's go ahead and go through this. Now, I'm not going to go over the details of every card, but I am going to discuss them and my reasons for choosing them. Central to this is Overhaul, the character. His two main abilities is once per turn you can build a card from your hand face down, and then once per turn you can play a card from your stage as your next card, ignoring progressive difficulty. Discarding a card if it's your opponent's turn. This particular, these two abilities work in tandem to give Overhaul. I'll call this make him a pseudo seven-hander. Ultimately, he has a wide variety of things he can do based off of the cards there. He almost always has an extra block that he can attempt. And being able to ignore progressive difficulty on your nth attack is really powerful. To extenuate this, we'll start off by running 4 copies of Maximum Overhaul. Probably his most iconic card in my mind. As long as you played any card from somewhere other than your stage, then from your hand rather, you can play. You can pick up cards to make this bigger. This turns into, most commonly, a 7 low for 8 damage, getting you 3 additional cards in your hand at the same time. Don't sleep on the fact that this has a second enhance that you can use as your initial card, I should say. Even if you don't get the additional bonus, play it as your first attack. Build one face down from Overhaul, build another face down or face up from Maximum Overhaul, and just build quickly to make your run easier. The card that's really going to help push this over the edge is Rando's Spirit Gun. Now, this is a 2-check, but it's got decent stats. It's a 5/5, and with its enhance, you can use Overhaul's abilities. It's once per turn abilities a second time that turn. This is big. So the most common attack sequence with this is to play an attack, play Rando's Spirit Gun, use this ability, then you play 3rd attack and you build face down, and then you play 4th attack. Or you play a 3rd attack, build face down, you play a 4th attack from your stage and a 5th attack from your stage. On no progressive difficulty. It makes strings really efficient, even when you're running a number of 5 diffs. I'm running a full set of Vile Seasonings because it draws cards. It is a 1 high block and it has Breaker 1. It's a very good card for being a 4 diff. If you're going to run Overhaul and Evil, you need to run at least a few copies of Nebulous Stare. Nebulous Stare, the fact that it is a throw, it is most commonly a 6 damage throw that you can build instead of putting in your momentum, means you can attack with this turn after turn. It puts your opponent on a clock, which is really good if they are a really defensive character and can't prevent the damage from going through. We'll skip to Looming Terror. I'm running one copy of Looming Terror because I like the card. A 7/7 as an opener with stun 2 is a really good value if you can get it out without committing too many foundations. And we have some foundations to aid in that there. And if you can consistently play it as like your 4th or 5th or 6th attack, it's really good. If on your opponent's turn, if they run out of attacks, if they poke you and they're holding nothing but foundations, this is guaranteed damage. And the fact that you can put it on top of the deck and just draw it, if you can afford to face tank something, go for it. I am running 4 copies of Double Fist of the Mortal Flame because this synergizes really well with Rando's Spirit Gum and Maximum Overhaul. So first, you can just simply get a momentum to aid in triggering Rando Spirit Gun's bonus +2/+2. The fact that it says EX2 and Powerful 4, by the way, is just it's insane. Powerful 4 on a card by itself is good, but when combined with EX, this card is usually 5, 6, 7. There's usually like at least an 8/8 in almost all situations. It is not uncommon that I've gotten this tack up to 10/16 or 12/16, depending on the momentum. If you don't need the extra momentum, you can echo it and then get that momentum back on your next attack because you played a card from somewhere that's not your hand. That will trigger Maximum Overhaul's primary ability at that point. So it's very good there as well. Borrowed Goods is a bit of momentum hate as well as momentum addition. If you allow your opponent to hit you and they take momentum, you play a Borrowed Goods and you steal it. They discard a momentum, you get one. Again, back to fueling the Rando's Spirit Gun. Sometimes you can get the combo off, so if you have a momentum, Double Fist of the Mortal Flame, you echo it, it goes face down, and then with Borrowed Goods, you can force them to discard another card from their hand. It doesn't happen consistently, but it's a good extra to have on there. Now, on the foundation side, the foundations are split into a couple of different categories overall. We've got cards that are defensive in nature. We've got cards that facilitate Rando's Spirit Gun. And then we've also got some economy cards. So let's sort this out. Sorting by difficulty, looking at the spams first. We've got 3 Surviving the Final and 4 Quick to Act. Surviving the Final is defensive. Quick to Act is offensive. And if you are less than half health, if you can get down to 13 health or less, this turns off 1/2 of Rando's Spirit Gun. 2 copies of Reconstruction works well with either Looming Terror, or it works well with Rando's Spirit Gun, or Nebula Stare. With Nebula Stare, you put something on top of the deck, a discard pile, and you build it down with Reconstruction, and then you can attack with that from your stage, either immediately or later. If you're attacking from stage with a Rando Spirit Gun, you can give it a speed with the Enhance. This Enhance also works on when you're echoing Double Fist of the Mortal Flame, because it's coming from somewhere that's not your hand. So this works really well. For Looming Terror, you can check it and then build it, or with Maximum Rando Spirit Gun, you can EX or Powerful, put the card you want to build on top of the deck, and then you can build it with Reconstruction. It actually may be worth going up to 2 more copies, but 2 seems to be a decent spot, since you're generally going to use this ability once per game in most cases. Defying Fate is a spam economy foundation. It basically counts as 2 foundations for the defense. However, don't sleep on the response that when your opponent burns you, you get to add it to your momentum. Even if you're debuilding yourself by 1, if you've got a Rando Spirit Gun ready to go off, putting this into your momentum when your opponent deals you a point or 2 of damage due to an effect, you very well may want to consider throwing this into your momentum for that. Paying the cost is a reusable damage pump for randos. Displaying the power is a reusable damage pump for randos, although it has a higher cost at commit. This also gives you an odd number of damage. Both of these give you an odd number of damage, so it actually works well with a Nebulous Stare in addition to that due to the nature of throws. Settling Old Debts is just simply there for card draw. I don't think a full 4 of is necessary, but 3 of seems to work well since your face down cards in general work well. Since this flips itself, it also is a decent way to get a high block if you need it. If in an emergency, even if both players don't have 6 or more, flip it. Nothing happens, and you can block with it. We're running 2 copies of Human Hunter because this effectively turns on Rando Spirit Gun by itself. I mean, it makes sense. It's Rando's card, right? So you attack with something that does damage. Nebulous Stare works really well for this with the throw, and then the Rando Spirit Gun on the second attack gets +2/+1, and then it'll get another +2/+2. So it turns into a 9/8 base before you do anything else. Cooperation offers one of the best defensive cards in the game in my mind. Flip for -3 means this card is effectively 4 foundations on the defensive. In addition, the enhanced to commit for +2 damage gives you 1/2 of what you need to turn on Spirit Gun. So if you play Spirit Gun from the stage, you have this and say Reconstruction. Commit this for 2 damage, Reconstruction gives you 1 speed, and there you go. You've turned on the other ability. Similarly, Loving Father, you can destroy a foundation to go through and get a speed for getting the opponent's or getting Spirit Gun to get the extra stats. It is worth noting that although it won't happen frequently, the ability to sack it, remove the foundation to pick up the top card of your discard pile if it matches this attack. If you have something, say a Spirit Gun or a Maxim Overhaul, a couple of them in your stage, you can play one from your stage, or if you have them in your hand, you destroy one in the stage, you sacrifice the copy in your stage to give it a speed, and then you remove that to pick up the attack. It's fairly consistent. Looking for a challenge is there for a couple of reasons. Locally, we have a couple of people that like to play stun decks, like, what's her name? I can't even remember her name at this point. And I'm certain I'm not going to remember to edit this part and cut it in. Toga, there we go, Toga. So this being, if it gets committed, you get +3 on the check. On the next check this turn means you can hold off on the bonus to check, assuming they don't do something like force you to make a check, but they can a little bit of stun hate ultimately. The commit flip, your next check to play or block with an attack gets +2, is good on defense, and offensively it gives you basically the same ability as more power for all intents and purposes, just a little bit different timing. On defense, you've got Defending Pageant Queen, running a single copy of. Depending on your environment, you may want to run another 1 or 2 copies in your sideboard. Immortal Shapeshifter. So this gives you damage for Rando Spirit Gun, and it can give you additional health increases. This works well with either itself or with Loving Father. So on the defense, sacrifice a foundation, give the opponent's attack -1 speed, and then go through and then for each Immortal Shapeshifter, try and check a 5 to get more health. Crimson Sparrow is there to pump speed on Rando's Spirit Gun, or gives you speed on defense if you have additional cards, which actually happens more frequently than you would think due to things such as Maxim Overhaul. More Power is a big economy card. So with More Power, the form reducing the difficulty of printed 5 diffs means Nebula Stare, Maximum Overhaul, Rando Spirit Gun, and Looming Terror all get -2 difficulty. And it is the next card you play. So if the or the next next attack you play with this particular difficulty. So you could, in theory, play a 4 diff, and then you could play the 5 diff at a decrease. The flip, the Deadlock Enhanced flip for +5 speed or damage is really good, especially if you have Maximum Overhaul. Flip it, get the speed bonus or damage bonus, pick it up Maximum Overhaul, play it again, flip it again. With Maximum Overhaul, this is generally equating to +5/+5 or +10 speed or +10 damage. And the last foundation is Invincible Body. This is a really good card. I got used to running it in Toguro. The ability to zero out and attack's damage is really good. The fact that it is a first enhance means you have to check yourself and make sure that you are good to play it, because it will conflict with Overhaul in his first enhance, so keep that in mind. Action-wise, I'm running 2 showdowns in the deck. There's a lot of high attacks in this environment. It's not the best ratio, but with cards like Cooperation Offer, it's still palatable to play this, and committing down 2 of their best foundations when they're attacking is good. The response also, commit 2 foundations to cancel an action. It's also really good when the opponent is rocking, say, Genkai's Guidance. So it is, don't forget that secondary response. This is my sample sideboard, just to give you an idea of the reason I'm running it. Showdown, an extra showdown to bring that up to 3 in case I need it. Slap Mr. Compress, this is more momentum destruction. Additionally, with Overhaul and younger Toguro in the environment, being able to build down their foundations, this lets you lose a health to destroy face down foundation, which might potentially get replayed later. So it's important to keep track of those attacks when they go down. This is another Borrowed Goods if you really need the momentum destruction. And Runaways. With Runaway, there's enough characters in the environment like Bui and younger Toguro which can make an attack just massively damaging. It very well may be worth it to just simply take a few damage to avoid the others, and then stack their card pool to make things more difficult. So that is the deck. Let's go ahead and go into some final thoughts. So there you have it. I really like the Randohaul deck. The way I typically play it is more of a counterpunch deck. I will block enough to not die and to try and get my opponent to attack into me and overextend potentially. And then I will try and counterattack. But even if you have to go on the offensive, there's enough large stats that throwing out one, a Looming Terror followed by a Rando Spirit Gun by itself might end up getting your opponent to commit out, leaving them open for a couple of non-progressive attacks at that point. The deck is a lot of fun. You do have to be careful with the 2-check. If you end up drawing a 3 diff in your opening hand and you were going first, I would typically play... I have a tendency to play it even though I shouldn't, but you probably should play that on your second turn. If you're going second, it's almost certainly worth the risk of a 2-check to go ahead and play the card out, because you are not likely to hit a 2-check and you can accommodate, even if you don't get your free build on your opponent's turn at that point. But that's my thoughts and my deck construction. I'm sure I'll see some changes in the future as I modify this slightly. What do you all think? I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. As always, thanks for watching.